What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Wingin cast. I got the usual suspects with me. Andre, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, doing a lot better than You know what? I'm not going to say that yet. We'll wait. We'll
All
wait.
right. And Shadow Fox, how you doing, man?
Got a national state of emergency and a state state of emergency, so I'm good to go. How y'all doing?
Okay, so you boarded up all in your crib. All right.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. 30 days worth.
So the ribs is at your crib, so I'll be over there a little later. All right.
Exactly.
All right, so this week we got a couple of things that are hilarious. We got one thing that is kind of worrisome, and we got one thing that I think we just got lied to. So let's start with the lie first. All right. NFL 2K is back for a fun, approachable, and social experiences type of game. Bruh, I think we just got hoodwinked.
Yeah.
I really think we just got hoodwinked.
Like I
Um,
said, I was thinking EA could finally make good games like Madden 2004 and 2005 because there was competition, but don't look like
and
it now.
so we
Mm-mm.
all thought that when this article broke, especially me, I'm like, oh snap, so we getting the actual 2K like 2K5 back. No. Apparently the simulated game is still held by EA.
Oh,
This is
what?
more like Blitz.
That is
It's
the worst license. That's the worst legalese in licensing ever. That's
yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what we getting is NFL 2K
manager's edition.
playgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad at that idea. I just, yeah, it does seem like, yeah, there was a like, oh no, we're not going to give you proper competition. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen.
So
Yeah,
I didn't remember that being part of the original license though. I just knew they renewed the license just so Sega couldn't get it back 6 or 7 years ago. I think it was when they renewed it again. But I don't remember it being part of
No, they
that
probably changed the terms.
after the NFL license runs out and other games can be made with NFL license. Only EA has a simulator. I don't remember that part. Like I don't.
They changed those terms somewhere.
They had
They
to
yeah,
because there would have been no point of them renewing the entire NFL players license.
yeah.
mm,
That's true. And hopefully this college thing where people can get paid off their likeness goes through, so we can get a proper college 2K. Since you don't want to do
NCAA.
since you don't want to nobody to have the NFL license, EA let 2K get the college one.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think Sega, whoever they are now. I don't know who owns. I guess it's just
it's
is it
just
just
2K.
so it's just 2K now.
It's just 2K. Yeah,
So Sega doesn't they don't own any of the residual rights to that.
I don't
I
think
doubt
so.
it.
I
Okay,
don't think
so
so.
the Grand Theft Auto people should be able to go in and make this happen. Then I just don't. It's just so weird because they haven't done baseball either. Like it's after football, they just quit.
Yeah,
The only thing they're doing now is basketball.
yeah, basically. And the wrestling one is not the same. That's not the same
Nah.
2K. That's not
No, no,
no.
different.
So that's different. So I mean, I don't. I was happy, and then when I read the article, I immediately got sad.
Yeah, that's just that legalese, man. That's the worst. Cause
Well,
man,
I kind of have to blame 2K for this because if they wouldn't have shot that bird to the NFL and EA in 2005 by making the best damn football game of all times and then charging only 19.99 for it as the bigger
yeah,
fu, that, they
yeah.
might still be salty about that.
But I mean, but there's nothing. The NFL can't be mad because they paid whatever millions of dollars they needed for the NFL license. They can do what they want with it.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
like, if it was a mobile game, you wouldn't expect it to be $60. So,
Mm-mm.
I
Well, I
mean,
think the other thing too was to be completely because I played both 2K5 and man 2005. 2K5 was the superior game in every aspect.
so I've never played 2K5. I've only played the latest I played was 2K2. I played
The
NBA
Randy Moss
2K2
cover,
and NFL 2K2 on Dreamcast.
the
That
Randy
was
Moss cover.
hmm
Yeah, see, yeah, the Randy Moss and AI cover.
yeah. That's the so that those are the. I mean, and it looked like a football game because I mean they have the camera view is the production camera. So
Yep.
and the Madden one, even if you try, it doesn't look the same. It doesn't. It looked like it looked like a TV broadcast on 2K2. But I mean 2K5
Hmm.
obviously on more powerful hardware. So yeah, man, what a loss.
Yeah, the lies, the lies, the lies. Oh well.
At
And,
this
and
point, they might as well have just gotten an XFL license and done that instead.
Yeah, that would
yeah,
have been good.
that's what I would have did if I was 2K. I would be like, okay, you know what? Y'all don't want us to have it. Fine, we're not even gonna
Okay.
get mad at y'all.
Just go ahead and do XFL or go ahead and do the arena football
I would
license.
say on the side note, they really need to be petitioning, throwing their hat in the ring to see if they can publish this AEW game that's about to come out.
Oh, the one that Kenny Omega wants the Aki engine for.
Yep.
That'll be
Yeah,
great
And
too.
you know he's an old school wrestling and fighting game fan. Like he's in tournaments, so
yeah.
he knows who they are.
Got his
I
He
own
wants to.
would,
custom stick too. Got his own custom stick straight from
Yeah.
Capcom.
I'd be
He's like
all
if it don't play like Fire Pro, we don't want it.
Yeah.
I'd be all over it. If that came out, I'd be all over it. Because once they do that, they're going to be going back to doing the custom characters the way with
Yep.
the detail that you could do with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
With
go for it.
stuff now with modern technique, yeah, dude.
Yep.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm maining Orange Cassidy.
So crazy, man. That
I'm maining
dude,
Orange Cassidy.
that dude's so live, man. Put on the bunny ears. What are you doing?
And that match with him and Pac, like people get mad. Like I get why Jim Cornette gets mad, but I'm like, bruh, the crowd was feeling that match. So
Yeah.
at this point, you can't get mad because that's what you're doing it for.
Well, they're building him up too, because he's gonna keep on getting beat up until he has his whatever match he has to do, and then that'll satisfy everybody.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it was just funny because you're just sitting there like he was just messing with Pac the whole time, and
the
Pac was
whole
pissed
time,
off. He was getting pissed off.
the whole time. But this dude is good. Like if you,
Yeah,
anybody that could do any of those moves, their hands in their pockets, man. I'm sorry.
the
Like
whole
you're
time.
the whole time. Like you're just good. I don't know
Yeah.
what else to tell you. But anyway,
Yeah.
we don't hijack the 2K.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that little side AEW tangent. But yeah, that would be good because they're saying there's more to come. So I'm wondering if that game is gonna drop this year. That AEW game is gonna drop this year.
Yeah,
I'm wondering.
it would be awesome if 2K picked that up. Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like they got other arenas to jump into, but I like you, Andre. I think they should have picked up the XFL when
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got BS out of this one. They should be like,
they should
okay,
go
I,
XFL.
but I think that's Vince's fault because like if you're already doing WWE, like why wouldn't you like, hey, are you guys building a game? I
It's
got
just more
another.
money.
Yeah.
yeah. Because people are gonna buy it. Because look, whether you love it or not, the XFL is not a bad league. The
Yeah.
XFL
No,
actually, especially this iteration, although I do miss the black and red ball, this iteration, it's like they put more thought into it.
Yeah. I
So,
think they watched AAF and saw that the only problem they had was money. And
yeah,
they're like, okay, let's do the same things they're doing. Let's review the plays and let you be able to see them review the plays. Let's see how the pace of the game is, how they measure attempts for extra points and all that kind of stuff. Like it seems like they've copied all the rules other than there's 3-point plays.
yeah,
So
which I think was actually a smart
yeah,
thing to do. So, I mean, I was enjoying it until um,
yeah, yep.
Ganondorf decided to team with Bowser.
But
You
you know
know,
how that goes. You gotta let it all. Gotta
yeah,
let it all get shut down.
yeah.
That's the way it
So.
works.
Oh well, no, we'll see what happens next year. So, I mean, because I think they're pretty much done this year. So I think we'll see what happens next year. The only thing that I know that may come back is in the NBA. They
Yeah.
may come back,
mhm.
but we're not certain at this point. But hey, it is what it is. So let's go into a little bit of brighter news that's equally hilarious.
Uh-oh.
Reggie Fils-Aimé on the board of directors at GameStop.
I
GameStop,
don't.
well, they trying to stay alive, man. They
But
trying to
see,
stay
but
alive.
so two ideas I think are good. The Reggie thing I think is good, even though it's a sinking ship. But the other idea is, and I don't know if you had this article also, they're making retro stop individual stores, like
Yeah,
nothing new in there,
Oh yeah,
retro stop.
yeah.
And that's what they should have been doing the
they
whole
sh-
time anyway. When I mean, like, have all the retro stuff. You can corner the market on it. You can go and and people trade in stuff like idiots. and then you can go in. Like people want to go get that old stuff. So and they'll pay if it's locally there in that store. They'll pay premium for it, and it ain't nothing but profit for you.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
and how many connections do you think GameStop executives have higher up to where they can find people that have these collections and whatnot, or unmasked like in warehouses that are shipping to some of these pawn shops and whatnot? Like they could they could corner that market real easy.
Yeah, they
They know
definitely.
everybody.
Well, you think they know everybody.
I mean, they got Reggie on the board. So like they could literally just go say, "Hey, Nintendo, your old stash of stuff that y'all got, we'll pay 7 million for that, and then we'll go sell them all for $30 a piece."
And we'll give you
Yeah,
3%.
whatever.
Yeah, we'll give
There
you
you
three
go.
percent, whatever.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. As long as they still have the corporate muscle, because they're it's slowly fading. So as
Yeah.
long as they have that influence and that money, they need to go ahead
Well,
and spend it.
maybe that's part of the reason that they got Reggie, so they could kind of better work something with Nintendo, knowing that
Yeah,
they have all that stuff in their facilities.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they will be
Um.
able to. All the
The,
connections. He's got nothing but a Rolodex full of everybody you need to talk to.
but here's the other problem. I don't think we talked about it, but their business practices is what got them in this situation to
Yes.
Yeah,
begin
it
with.
is.
And like
Yes.
this idea, because I hate this idea, because I feel bad because I know people who used to work there. I just can't go there no more because I
I
was
used to
like,
work
dude,
there.
I'm not signing up for your shit. But that's
Ah,
how they were hiring and firing people. I'm like,
That's that's
that's
what they call it. They call it feast or famine. Like you
yeah,
you
like
need you need so many subscriptions you got to
yeah,
sell, and so many warranties you got to sell per day.
yeah,
And if you're not meeting them, bruh,
which
you
is
go in the next day. Oh,
stupid.
why are you here? You're not on the schedule.
That was
That's
stupid.
yeah,
yeah.
and that's dumb. I mean, that's dumb.
Like
And
people
and
that
this
want to be there.
yeah,
Yeah,
and this didn't start like um 10, 12 years ago. It started like about 5 to 6 years ago
I want to
is
say
when they
longer
started,
than that because I
because that's
stopped.
when they started going at it hardcore, and I noticed it. That's when I stopped going, because I'm
I
like,
mm,
stopped working for
I'm not
them
getting
in
that.
2010 or 2011, one of the two. So it's been going on for better
Well, I
part of
stopped.
over a decade. I want to say 15, 16 years.
Well,
it's they've
that
been
sounds about
doing
right.
it.
I stopped going in 2017. That's when I
Yeah.
stopped using GameStop 2017. So
But
They-
you're about that's about right. Because like before 2011, it wasn't like that. It
it
wasn't
got
that
so
bad.
bad. It got so bad. I knew it started getting bad after I left because like around 2013, I started to go see some of my friends that used to work up there and everything, and then I found out they started firing store managers for it. Like if store managers weren't making it, and you know how much a store manager has to do during the day. So
Yeah,
they're working on inventory, they're doing all this, doing all that, and everything. They're firing store managers for not making their individual
yeah,
whatever, and they're trying to make sure their store is doing it. So on top of them making sure their store does it, they as an individual have to do it too. And they
yeah.
were they were
again,
giving them
it's
their
dumb.
walking papers, man. Like you talking about guys, that's the only job they have, that's the only job they want or whatever. They only making like 30, $40,000 a year, and then they tell them just one day bye. Like how do you even live with yourself like that? And then the person that tells them is a regional manager who works for an exec, and they're making way too much money, and they don't care anything about those games at all.
Yeah,
They just
because they're
care about
not.
the numbers.
They're suits. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happens when suits take over.
That's the biggest problem with GameStop. It was that you'd have once they got a decent set of employees in a store, they
Yep,
start firing everybody, and then
yep.
you got people in there that don't know nothing about what they talking about.
And so like the people that I would sell the warranties to were people that I knew that would fuck it up. Like they bought a game or whatever, and I'm like, your kids aren't good with these. Every time they trade them in, they look horrible. You might wanna do this, and we will just give you store credit for whatever you have. It's not even a thing where where we have to prove it and all this other kind. We don't care. We had tons of used games, so they bring it in and it was scratched up or whatever. We just give them another used one at work. Like it wasn't even. That was part, and I tried to tell them that realistically. Like other people would be lying and telling them we'll get you a brand new game, or we get you the exact dollar value that you paid. No, like I told them the truth. Like y'all killing these games, and they're not cartridges like they used to be. Like so, if you know that your kid is going to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich with one, yeah, then let's do the thing where we get you pay a little $5 warranty or whatever, and then you bring in whatever atrocity that used to be a disc, and then
Yeah.
we get you a use them back. Like it's too easy, and so we would do that and everything, but then they would still want you to push more. It's just the worst. Like pushing it to people that you know, like people, you know your customers when you work at one of these stores. You know the dudes. Like I'm one of them. I want shrink wrap on my shit. If I want to buy something brand new, I want it brand ass new. Don't
Yeah.
give me something that y'all don't open and put a new sticker on. And we will be told to do that all the time to the point where, um, not while I was working there, but after I started working there, people literally like when they got a shipment of games in, they just go ahead and de-shrink wrap them and put the new labels on them and just stick them back there. And then you have people rent them out in the store or whatever. They rent them out and play them, or they rent out all the games. And then so you go there, you try to get a new copy. They don't have a shrink wrap copy. It's all the ones with the new on it because the store been playing them. So it's just it's bad, man. And they never thought about the customer. The customer's like, well, I don't really care about this magazine, blah blah blah, and they're still pushing it to them. Or they're trying to trade something in, and they're like, sure, man, I'll take all your games and give you
$10.
90 cents off of Madden, like,
Yeah.
and the wrong people fall for it, and it's just the worst thing, man. It's the worst thing, and I try to tell people, I'm like, look, like, save your money, and if you wanna buy something and you wanna have it have value, I know I got in trouble a couple of times because the dude came in with a copy of Madden. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now, you might get $2 for this game, and it's brand ass new. Like it's only like once Madden is like 6 months old, that's it.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's it.
it's
So
Yeah,
over.
that's it.
and like it's brand ass new. He done bought the collector's edition with all the extra little stuff on it for Madden 25 since it was an anniversary edition or whatever. And I saw him. I said, dude, you know what they about to do to you, right? So I'm like, man, you might want to take that to Amazon, man. You might want to. And
Yeah,
it's
because you ain't.
sad that on Amazon you can get more for a used copy of a Madden game. That's
Well, I
crazy.
mean, that actually makes sense though. But once again, that was all the annual games though. If it was an
Yeah.
annualized game after like 3 months, you ain't getting nothing for that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. And in the situation now where like NBA 2K19 is the better version of the game for the last 3 years, and you're gonna tell me that that version of the game is only worth 90 cents to trade in, and the new version of the game is worth more, and it's absolute trash. Like, no, what that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fit any of your algorithms because the demand is for NBA 2K19. So it should be at least supply and demand in the gamosphere, but it's not to them. It's just a skew, and the skew is old, so they depreciate the price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's their
So
their entire business structure was, and that's how they died, literally. Because I mean, online was like, we're better than you. Best Buy is like, we're better than you. We got the Gamers Club and everything. And even without that, now it's just too easy to order it online, and then Best Buy ship it to the store. You can just go pick it up. Like,
so with all that being said, Reggie, good luck, buddy.
yeah,
So,
you got some work to do, man.
yeah.
Because like they need to just get rid of reserves, period. Because there's no way, like they're not going to get anything exclusive anymore.
Nope.
So unless it's like absolutely GameStop exclusive, like do not push reserves. Don't do that. The gamers feel like, number one, they feel like you're talking down to them. Then they know they don't want it, they don't need it. And if you go there and they don't have it, you can go across the street to Best Buy and they have it, or you can go on Amazon and they have it. So why lie to the customer and tell them, well, you didn't reserve it, so I guess you don't get it? Like, why even lie to them like that? But they do it. They do it every year. Now
Yeah,
consoles, that's different because they sell out day one. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So that is what it is. But on to more depressing news. So E3 officially canceled this past week, and I posed the question: should everybody just do directs and call it a day? And then the second I wrote that down, Phil Spencer decides to open his mouth and say that Microsoft is doing a digital event, and then Ubisoft confirmed that they're doing one too. So Shadow, since you were completely correct
yeah,
on this, on this with the whole everybody should just do directs and call it a day.
yeah, that's what
I'll
they
let you
should have
have
been doing.
I'll let you have the floor on this one.
I, what puzzles me is I'm pretty sure Nintendo hasn't trademarked Direct. So I don't know why the other companies just don't call it a direct and keep it moving. I'm pretty sure they haven't trademarked that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I foresaw this coming. If anything weird happened in the world back in 2013, when everybody was bitching, well, Nintendo, they too scared to show up and do competition. I said, okay, but that's the future. We're doing online. Like, we had events on the Nintendo channel that were better than watching E3. They would put videos out, and we're talking about 480p. And
Yep.
I'm sitting there watching videos like, boy, this game coming, that game's coming, and you get to see them playing games and showing different stuff from inside the games. Even Nintendo Minute, I think it was the old
Nintendo Minute
Nintendo
was
Minute.
doing it. Yeah, the old Nintendo
Yeah.
Minute.
So
When they showed
that's
that what was it, Red Steel 2? Because they the ones that broke the Red Steel 2 digitally online, and people were like, "What the hell?" Yeah.
yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, even though old girl quit because people found out that she did other stuff other than that as a but that was, I mean, my people are people, man. What do you expect, man? Like, I mean,
Skinamax.
Kevin Butler's doing like 3 shows on ABC right now. Like, I mean, they gotta live, they gotta eat, bro.
Yeah.
Gotta do something. But man, E3. To be fair, it was kind of rocky anyway. Once the people that were supposed to be preparing the event for them, once they just said, you know what, we're not going to do this. It's probably not going to turn out the way we wanted to. It probably, to be honest with you, you're probably going to end up being a shit show anyway because they didn't have. I mean, at this point, when somebody dropping out like 3 months before the event, before I guess you can call this a natural disaster or what have you. And before that, that's when Keely said he wasn't going either. So obviously he saw something wrong.
Well, Kelly
So
wasn't going because Sony wasn't going. And last year when he went, he ain't had nothing to talk about.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
out there like a day and had nothing to talk about because Sony he couldn't kiss Sony ass. I mean, he couldn't talk
yeah.
about Sony
There's that
like he
too. I forgot
wanted
about
to.
that. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
then he pimp control. Yeah, at Game Awards,
yeah,
He
yeah,
did.
he
he
pimped
He
it.
did.
pimped
Yeah.
the hell out of control.
Yeah,
But
but that's all he had to talk about because he ain't had nothing else. So when they said they weren't going, I expected him to say he wasn't going because I'm like, he's not finna sit up there and go again, and Sony ain't gonna be there for him to like just walk around in awe with his mouth open.
so I wondered if Reggie was going to go because he had done like 2 Game Awards in a row after he retired or whatever. So I figured he would have. I wonder if he would have made an appearance there, like just to like be
He
on the
He
might
show.
have.
probably would. He probably would just because he's like people expect to see him there for some reason. I don't know
Yeah,
why, but yeah, people expect to see him there for some
I
reason.
mean, well, he definitely has to now if he's doing his deal with GameStop. But yeah, it's just interesting, and I wonder what's going to happen to like now all the people that skipped CES to show all their little indie wares and stuff like the little robotic kits and stuff to connect the game consoles and all like stuff like PlayStation Eye when they had the little card game and all that kind of stuff. All that
Mhm.
stuff that used to be in Kenshin Hall and all that. They have nowhere to go now. So
Yeah.
and they probably skipped their chance at CES because you got to pay for one of them to go to a year, and people don't have that kind of bank like that. So
Well, Tokyo Game Show.
yeah, that's what it's gonna look like now.
Yes.
Like you gotta need a plane ticket.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, and Andre. I want to ask you this: like, if it's you, and because remember, a lot of people pulled out of Gamescom too.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you show up at TGS or do you just say, okay, since Sony did say they were doing PlayStation Experience this year, and we know Microsoft does their XO event or whatever, do you show
Yeah.
up there? Do you call them and be like, hey man, can we show up here?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
wonder,
without anything else, yeah, that's what I would be doing.
but without the E3 name, nobody's really shopping for you like that. To be honest
But
with you,
but
because people specifically go to the little darker corners of E3 to look at that stuff. So
well,
unless you go to CES, I don't know of a better advertisement.
CES was that was in January. So if you didn't go because you was
Yeah.
planning on going to E3, you screwed.
Gamescom is probably the best because it's open to everybody. So
Well,
if
Not
you go to
now.
Gamescom,
Hmm,
yeah, you
now.
go to Games or a penny
Paris
arcade.
Games. I think it's Paris Games does it too now.
Yeah, so I would say PAX probably the best. That's probably the best scenario for them now going forward because
Well,
PAX is dedicated to being a physical location.
and it is. They still have two more
They
directions
still
to
have
go.
2 more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, I think they just did east, so they still got south and west.
hmm
I think.
and
Yep.
West. Yeah, just
West.
regular PAX is what they call the West, I guess.
Okay,
I
so
guess.
regular
So
packs and
PAX,
packs south.
PAX South, and PAX East.
Okay.
Taxis.
So yeah, so I mean, I feel bad for like the. I feel bad for the small guys, the little guys that have to go there. I don't feel bad for like because I was looking at Microsoft. I'm like Microsoft, y'all really didn't have to make it a freaking announcement. Y'all have your own damn theater.
Yeah, they just built one after Apple built theirs.
Yeah, so I'm
They
like,
just
y'all
built a
have
brand new one.
your own theater that y'all do all your stuff out of anyway.
Yep.
So, y'all
They
really
they
gonna have to,
literally could just do everything from there. They don't even have to worry about it.
yeah,
Yep. Invite all the press and go from there. But
yeah,
it's just weird. It's just weird. And then Sony does. They did a CES announcement for the logo for PlayStation 5. They spent all
yeah.
that money to show how they make. They're gonna do middleware for cars and I like what I don't. Why would you waste money for that and then not go to E3 and not have a reveal or
Well,
anything for this console?
I think because both of these consoles are getting delayed, especially with the
Oh, they are.
the you know the the V word
Yeah.
since that's out.
Well,
Don't
Microsoft can't determine whether they can afford their console or not, and Sony is trying to figure out whether they can afford to do what they're doing. So Sony's waiting for the price drop thing from last generation, and Microsoft doesn't have a price yet.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I don't think it's actually getting made. Like if they were gonna have these to come out this year, they'd start their factory runs now. Their
yep,
factories are in China. Their factories ain't open.
nope,
So even if
Yeah.
let's just say for the complete optimist sake, if let's just say everything goes back to normal in May, at the beginning of May, they still don't have enough time to get their stuff out before the end
yeah.
of the year.
The
So
chipsets
it's
haven't even been ordered yet.
yeah,
Like they haven't. TSMC hasn't built any of that
yeah.
stuff yet.
So
So
it like I said,
or
like I was telling
Foxconn, I
people
think they're
this.
doing now.
I was telling people this. I'm like, I don't think these consoles are coming out this year, so they might get pushed back a full on to a full on next year.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially now. So that's why like people sitting there, we need to know about the PS5. No, you ain't going
You
to.
really don't need to
You're
know
not
about it
going
right now.
to. You don't.
And
You got other stuff to worry about like toilet paper.
that's why like I didn't when I need to finish editing this video, but my Series X video is more like why are they being so vague? They're intentionally being vague because they're nothing's concrete.
Yeah.
They don't have any speeds and feeds yet. Like they so people try to reverse assume what the teraflop number would be like or try to reverse and say hey what the clock speed would be, but these are custom ASICs. We don't know. They'll tell you what the architecture is, but that doesn't mean that the shaders and TMUs are architected the same way. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but the Xbox 360 was the last console where Microsoft literally had hardware that hadn't been made yet on the PC side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
so
remember that. Yeah.
what it ended up being, it ended up being like a halfway point before you started getting to the Radeon, I guess 2000 series, the Radeon 2000 series. So it went from the 1600 to the 2000 series. It had some parts of the 2000 series and some parts of the 1300X series in there, and that mix of shader models and that type of technology was it has stuff in there that AMD at the time going forward would get rid of. But some stuff that they had in that console was never on was new and it wasn't on any other hardware than at the time. So it's Microsoft might be in that situation again. So we don't really know. You can't really just say, well, because everything's the same on PCs, let's just go and reverse
Yeah.
engineer this number and work backwards and say this is what the clock speeds are going to be. No, it's
No.
not the case because you don't know what. And with a lot of them talking about ray tracing, hardware assisted ray tracing, and all that. So those are custom ASICs built on the board. In addition to that, so there's custom logic on there that basically is going to look like a shader block, but it's doing basically doing all the work for free. Kind of like how GameCube did. Like GameCube didn't have all these hardware shaders or anything like that on there, but there was custom logic built on there that didn't look like anything else then at the time that just did stuff like fog like for free. Like the CPU just says run fog on this part of the chipset and it ran. So and the same thing could be true for what they're trying to do for ray tracing. And you can't just that's not just something that you could just throw to a shader and go from there. And they're building a version of DirectX to support this because currently that doesn't exist for NVIDIA's RTX. So the RTX that does ray tracing is their own internal API to do it, and you can only do one piece at a time. Like you got to pick and choose what part of your scene is going to be ray traced. And Microsoft just did one across the board and said DirectX. Like DirectX is going to tell the GPU what to do, no matter what GPU it is. And if we see the custom logic for Xbox Series X or whatever, or new GPUs going forward, we'll tell it what to do with that custom logic. But I mean, they've already said it's not shaders. It's some custom hardware they have on there that's going to be doing it because it's technically already not possible now, real time. But if you can do 2 or 3 of the ray tracing effects at a single time, it's gonna look real close to the real thing. It's gonna start looking like the Toy Story ray tracing we're talking about. It'll be enough to fool the average person. So,
So, for everybody out there that's that didn't get a cert or a degree in IT, it's a bunch of proprietary stuff, all right?
yes,
Yeah,
it's custom.
it's custom. It's all custom. So that's another reason why this is going to be a delay,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna have to deal with the fact that it is going to be a delay. So, as we always say, time to put a dent in that backlog.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting. I just don't think you're getting nothing this year. Just from a business side and the tech side, business side you're not gonna get nothing because your factories are shut down.
Yep.
They are not open. You
The
don't have
the
your
game's not looking good either. Like
yeah.
none of that
But
stuff looks like it's ready.
on the bright side, on the flip side of that is this gives the developers that do have their kits, their prototype kits or whatever, they gives them enough time to get better with it. So you're gonna get a better game. Let me take that back. If you have
You
a talented
might get a
team,
better game.
Usually.
you should get a better game. You should, because that's going to give them enough time to actually, like, okay, since it's not out yet, they give us some more time to play with it and get this mastered
Hmm.
before you know it's go time. So that's what you should be happy about. But of course, y'all probably not gonna be happy. Y'all probably gonna be mad. So
Man, just play PC, man. All the games going there anyway. Just do that and keep it moving. Like
yeah,
I
PC
don't get
master
it.
race. Yeah, the PC master race. See, y'all don't understand about this PC master race over here.
Gotta do it. Still buying those consoles day one though, because that's
Yeah,
just
I'm
what I
saying.
do. It's another generation. I gotta buy them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna be a day one. Nah. I learned about beta testing last gen. So, um,
Come on, my
before
PS4 just sounds like a jet taking off. It's okay. It's all right. It still run the games. It's just loud.
and on that note, so, before we get out of here, because today's episode is gonna be a little bit on the light side, I asked for Shadow to come here because I wanted to pose a question to him because I always see this happening between the PC Master Race and the console guys. Like everybody want to get mad about what the inside of everything can do, and I'm just sitting there like, bruh, PC is always gonna have a leg up over console because you can upgrade as soon as that stuff come out.
Yep.
So as soon as Nvidia or AMD want to drop their next processor, their next anything, you can go to the store and grab it and just upgrade your PC right then
Yep.
if you want to. Some of y'all can't afford to, but y'all gonna still act like y'all can. I'm not going there with y'all today. But I wanted to pose the question to Shadow: should we, at this point in time, be able to just pop the top, pop the hood, and exchange what we want to exchange in our console? Should they do that, or should they just say no? We need to keep them solid state drives, because that's basically what a console is—a solid state drive.
So I'm going to say no for the same reasons I've always have. You will end up with a situation where you have the same problems PC does.
Mhm.
You can have the best CPU in the world, you can have the best GPU in the world. Nobody's designing the game for that. Like you'll have a crisis every once in a while, or you have a Far Cry every once in a while that'll try to use everything you got. But even then, it's only brute forcing the base engine they designed the game around. It's not gonna use all the bells and whistles in the way that you want. It's actually gonna waste those resources. It's not gonna. So if you think about like uh for an example, look at some of the things that Microsoft and Nintendo do with their dedicated console games. Like an Xbox 360 compared to a PC today is like there are laptops that run circles around it as far as specs goes. But since Bungie designed that game around exactly what that console does great, that's the benefit of having a console. So yes, the CPU is extremely hot. Nobody does SIMD or vector instructions or whatnot on CPUs anymore. Everybody passes that to shaders on your GPU. But since that was so strong on the 360, that overcame a lot of the shortcomings on the GPU side of things when newer GPUs started coming out, which is why things like Halo 3 and I keep wanting to say Borderlands, but not necessarily Borderlands, but I can't think of the name of this game where you manipulated the physics and everything and whatnot.
Time splitters.
No, the first person
No.
shooter, BioShock.
Bioshock.
Bioshock,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the sequel to System Shock. So when I started seeing stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this stuff is kind of good. And then, but you notice the limitations they had to work with, like do stuff like run stuff at 540p and whatnot, or decrease the quality on the textures, like that kind of stuff. You knew that it was taking to the strengths of what the 360 had, like 360, like Wii and GameCube before it had EDRAM in it that was insanely fast per node, like per bit of information that's going across is insanely faster than say even GDDR5 and newer GPUs we have right now. And so that's a way to work around base limitations. Say like if that was just an old school graphics card back in the day with DDR3 memory in it, with GDDR3 memory in it, it would be significantly slower and more latent at the same time. So since developers know what they're working with on top of that and they know the limitations, they can do stuff like interrupts. So they can say, hey, look, this process takes a really long time. So while this process and building these shader caches and whatnot takes a real long time, let's switch over here and have the CPU do something, or let's create another shader for the GPU to work on while it's doing this. So it's kind of creating its own set of tasks at the same time. That's what Nintendo does a lot. Um, and if you look at the numbers of any of their stuff on paper, you think, oh, well, this obviously isn't possible. And then you see The Witcher 3 on the Switch. So it's just one of those things where if you take a base PC, that's not happening. Not only because of developers not wanting to design for it, you also have the other problem. PC has an OS, so it's brute forcing all its games. You're running Windows and the game at the same time, whereas consoles have their own base. They have their base firmware. People you can call it OS. On the Xbox side of things, it actually is an OS, but it's more of a kernel with firmware strappings for say it's more of a BSD type scenario on both the PS4 and the Switch and even Wii U back then. It runs headless for the most part. You see the stuff that you see on the screen and whatnot, but it's running command line, a whole bunch of command line shit in the background. Um, since consoles are able to do that so well, and since the timings are so fixed, you start to screw up your firmware logic and your game logic to where games run in ways they're not expected once you do things like remove components.
Mm.
So if you just look at emulation now, like emulation has gone to a whole nother level now since now games use shaders. So now you can, as long as you can convert what the main code was on for software and whatnot, you can have shader cache translated to what the shader blocks are on your GPU, and you can run a game like 1-to-1 almost. So, but the issue is when you have a console that was designed to do certain interrupts to make up for discrepancies on the hardware and whatnot, and that game may sing on that original hardware, when you try to emulate it and do the same thing, you're going to end up with more issues on more powerful hardware. So
Cyberpunk
imagine,
6.
yeah. So
Sorry.
so imagine taking a Wii U and then without making any changes to the firmware, putting a PS4 GPU in it. Like not only would nothing run, and the few things that would be able to run for say for whatever reason in the firmware it called for blind GPU or what have you, and it runs an API based on whatever GPU is there to try to run the game. Like nothing would run optimally. Like you'd have stuff with lower frame rates or stuff with a fast frame rate, but it'll crash a lot because the code is expecting certain things, and if it finishes faster than the internal timer expected, then you're going to end up with a memory leak, and you have issues like that. So, and that's also a security issue as well. So if you got clock speeds coming in faster than you expect, you're leaking memory. somebody that's running that game is like, let me inject my own code in here, and now, now you got a console on the loose. So I think if you do something like that, it'll be more work than what it's worth for hardware engineers and the people that develop the firmware for these consoles. So if anybody can do it, Nintendo's doing it now. That's the closest I've seen. You got two different versions of the Switch out right now. One with a different upgrade to the CPU and GPU and whatnot, and they fix their own internal clocks on the base console as well. So that's a lot of firmware work they had to do, and then pass that on to the developers that choose to take advantage of it, like the Mortal Kombat team, like the Doom team, or what have you. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of going back and forth. So imagine all of a sudden now, Xbox Series X comes out, and then there's a Xbox Series S, Y, G, M, what have you. It'd be a nightmare. Like there can't be more than 5 SKUs. It's already bad as it is now. So literally being able to swap them in and out, and short of that translating to another code name, that's going to be a problem.
So what you're saying is I should not have popped the top off of my Xbox One S. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Should not have.
That. I should not have done that. Well, the things you learn. All right. So no, I did not do that, people. I didn't do that. So
yeah, nowadays they're all sorted on the board anyway. But if you came up with one that just had like just a PCI bridge on it, and you could just drop a different GPU in there, that opens that's so many problems you got to do on the back end to predict what's going to be put in there.
That's what I always thought. That's why I was like, I've always thought about it, and I'm like, you know what, that would be cool. But then at the end of the day, you're like, nah, that would be stupid.
Just imagine this now. Just imagine this now. If you went inside your Nintendo Switch with a soldering iron, and even if you kept some of the other chips in place just for encryption's sake and for security checks and whatnot, if all you did was go in there and solder on another 8 gigs of RAM, games would break.
Yeah, they will break. Yeah.
That's just
they have to be programmed for it. Yeah.
Yep. Every game would need an update just because it would expect that memory check as it's loading the game.
Yeah.
Just simple things like that is just, and that's just RAM. So you're talking about an entire GPU and creating a different path for it to talk on.
Yep.
So
I think we're still gonna be dealing with this like in this upcoming gen for Sony and Microsoft with this mid-tier upgrade thing. Yep. Like if let's just say for,
or maybe the X is it and the S will launch with it as well, and they kind of get to the punch.
I'm just saying, like, if probably around like say 2024, there's probably going to be another upgrade.
Oh, Series Z, yeah, maybe.
There'll probably be another upgrade where that's why, like, when I'm looking at it now, like Microsoft already has the Xbox One S is going to be their low tier, Xbox One X is going to be their mid, and then you have Series X going to be their high. PlayStation going to have 5 as their high, 4 Pro is their mid. Yep. I don't think they're going to deal with the PS4 after the 5 hits. They're just going to be like, okay, look, get a Pro or better. We ain't got time for that. Nintendo will still be doing something completely different than anybody else. We're not going to know what they're going to be.
It's Same generation.
His generation probably going to be a Tony Stark hologram with knowing them. And it's not going to make any sense, but everybody's going to love it or hate it all the same.
They'll love it because it plays Animal Crossing. They'll love it.
Yeah, and we're probably finally gonna get that Animal Crossing Bethesda crossover that everybody wants to see, where the villager turns out to be Doom guy.
Yep, Isabel with the freaking a BFG that works for me.
Yep.
Video for that on my channel on Friday.
Yes, Isabel with a BFG. That man, I say put her in the game now. Dude, if they did that mod and put it in there as DLC. Well, Nintendo fans would download that. They would.
Well, Bethesda, the guys over Bethesda, they loved the posters that people were making off of it. They loved it. So I'm like, hey, if they like it, and Nintendo is crazy enough to do something stupid in the spinoff, I'm just saying.
And Nintendo was playing off of it too. They're just like,
Yeah.
can I play? Like Doom would do their little thing, like, hey, get ready, and then they have Nintendo on there. Can I play with a picture of Isabel? Like,
Yeah.
wow,
Like,
yeah.
okay, like y'all are taking this a little bit too far.
I like it
Look,
though.
look,
I think it's awesome.
people that turn Isabel into a alcoholic though. She be drinking hard whiskey.
And hard
Hard
days.
whiskey. She don't go with the light stuff. She goes with the shit that'll knock you on your ass.
Nook is a rough boss, man.
Yeah,
Like he's
Tom Nook, man.
Nook is a mafia boss. We know.
he pushed hard. You know how many bodies she don't see?
Look,
And-
this dude will get you a house and then tell you have to pay him back. He was like, "There's no questions asked. You gotta pay me
Yeah.
back."
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll upgrade your house,
Racketeering all
but
day.
you paying me back. Like, I'm gonna
Yep.
make you do so much stuff until this is paid off.
Yep.
Dude, I can see the anime for this right now. Tom Nook is the villain.
Just loan sharking, just like you kind of want this protection. You kind of need it. Bad things will happen to you if you don't have protection.
That's
And
why.
then he got his sons there watching you too.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why Isabel had to go to Mario Kart because she had to try to win the money back.
Oh yeah. Life is rough, man.
Her and the village.
Her and the villager both in the Mario Kart and Smash because they trying to win money so they can pay him off.
Yep. It's rough,
And
man.
and Tom Nook voiced by Joe Pesci.
Walk in the room, there's nothing but sheets taped to the wall. Oh,
The movie, it's gonna be on Netflix and it's gonna be directed by Martin Scorsese. The Animal Crossing movie.
Tom sitting behind the desk with a cigar in his mouth, just sitting there leaning back, rocking.
Bob life. KK on drugs. It's bad, just a bad way. That's why he's singing so much, man. It's rough being on that thing.
Netflix. We just gave y'all the premise for y'all next new hit series.
Mr. Rossetti is the door guard.
Yeah.
You can't get in.
Then the killer to all of this is when at the end of the series, it's really Ryan Reynolds writing the script for Deadpool 3.
And he's got amiibos. He's over there making.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Netflix, we just gave you your next best hit series. So
Yes.
Animal Crossing.
It works for me. Animal Crossing, Cross Doom, Cross Deadpool.
Stick with the New Horizons because it'd be something new.
Yeah, it'll be something new, all right. In the Deadpool font. With the Deadpool font.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, people. Sorry about that little off the wall tangent we just went on, but I'm pretty sure you guys loved it. So that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you, Shadowfox, for joining. You got anything you want to pimp out?
No, I just got this video rendering at some point. I'll upload it whenever I get a chance. It's a lot of editing, so just bear with me and it'll be up. It's about the Xbox Series X, so look for it. I don't know what I want to title it yet, but Xbox Series X will be in the title. And I'll go through everything. You'll probably learn a little bit about the PlayStation 5 as well, because I'll go over both of those LSIs in detail. So just look for it there. And do you play games to have fun or to impress other people?
All right, Andre, anything you want to pimp out?
I mean, yeah, the Doom Crossing video is coming Friday, but that's about it. That's the thing I think most people be looking most forward to, because that's coming Friday. I do have a video going back over one of the games I beta tested, the update of it. So that's tomorrow. And it's just my other stuff that'll pop up. I mean, I got stuff waiting. That's it.
All right. And since it was brought to my attention that this is National Women's Month, I have a couple games, a couple arcade games that I'm going to be playing. Well, not arcade, but y'all know my gameplay thing, arcade, where I'll be playing some of my favorite heroines. So be on the lookout for that next week. It's going to be at least 2 to 4 arcade vids next week, and because I skipped last week, so probably either somewhere in the 2 to 4 with like I said, some of my favorite gaming heroines, as it were.
You should get a capture unit so you can play Super Princess Peach.
I'm not doing that. So yeah, so What? Not for the reasons you think. Not for the reasons you think. Jeez,
It's
y'all know I like peach ish.
it's
So
it's a good game, but capture device is probably gonna run you a little
yeah,
bit.
they capture device because I actually looked into it at one point, and then I saw how much the price tag was, and then I had a meeting with my life, and I just
At
decided
that
against that.
at that point, you better
Well,
off
maybe you can
just
walk in your local GameStop and catch Reggie there. You can ask him about
nah. Nah.
Yeah, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm
Hey,
good.
you would be better off at that point just getting another 3DS, hacking it, and then using the software to display it to your
record
PC
it.
because it'd be
Yeah,
cheaper. It'd be
Yeah,
cheaper.
so
record
yeah,
to SD card and put the
and,
SD card on your PC. Yep.
Hmm.
and then I won't have to send my DS anywhere, so I'm not doing that. So, that being said, yeah, I will have a few of those vids up this coming week, and guess we'll see you again on next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z. So, peace, Wakanda forever.
These are everybody.